I was supposed to try on wedding dresses today, a day I had been looking forward to for a long time. I had been with my boyfriend Ethan for 7 years, and the joy I felt walking into the bridal shop was immense. But then I heard his voice from around a corner talking to his friend, and everything shattered. You got your marriage license with Chloe yesterday, and today you're here with Maya for a wedding dress fitting? Aren't you worried she'll find out and cause a scene? Ethan's reply was heavy and strained. My brother died in that car accident. Chloe is pregnant with his child. If I don't marry her and take responsibility, how are a widow and an orphan supposed to survive? I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to Maya. Just keep this quiet. She can never know. In that single moment, my world turned to ice. I quietly backed away and, with trembling hands, scheduled an appointment at a hospital for an abortion. If he couldn't give our child and me a whole family, then it was better not to bring a child into this at all. The joy I had felt just this morning, after getting a positive pregnancy test, was completely gone, replaced by a cold, biting emptiness. I had planned on telling him the good news at the shop, but he had delivered this devastating blow first. If he was already married to someone else, why were we planning a wedding? Before I could process it, a designer from the shop walked up to me. Miss Hayes, the dress Mr. Thompson ordered for you is here. You can go try it on now. I was stunned for a second. Ethan had been more invested in this wedding than anyone. He had designed the rings and the dress himself, based on everything I liked, and watched over their creation. Inside my ring, he'd had the words engraved: my love, my life. I had even suggested we hire a planner to ease his workload, but he had insisted, saying, doing it myself shows how I really feel. I want you to think of me whenever you see these things. Everyone told me how lucky I was, that he would be the perfect husband. Now, all of that felt like a bitter joke. I pulled myself together and walked toward the fitting room. A familiar figure was standing there, Chloe. She saw me and smiled. Maya, you're here. Come and see how beautiful your wedding dress is. She acted so naturally, like a kind older sister. I had met her a few times when Ethan's older brother was still alive, and I always thought of her as my future sister-in-law. I'd shared things with her, trying to build a good relationship. If I hadn't heard that conversation, I never would have guessed she would become the reason my life was falling apart. Remembering their words, I glanced at her stomach, which was still flat, and a wave of bitterness washed over me. No matter what, she had someone to support her. My child and I had no one. I looked at the beautiful dress and said, "It is stunning. Would you like to try it on?" Maya, what are you saying? Ethan's voice cut in, laced with a hint of anger. He walked over, his eyes full of disapproval. This is your wedding dress. How can you let someone else try it on? My face was a calm mask. What's the big deal? I heard Chloe didn't get to wear a wedding dress when she married your brother. Letting her try it on now can make up for that. Their marriage had been rushed. They only got a license and never had a ceremony. Since Ethan had now made her his wife, I figured I could help her fulfill that dream. Chloe looked genuinely moved. No woman doesn't dream of being a bride. Ethan's expression softened too, and he didn't argue. Chloe hesitated, then asked, "Can I really?" I nodded and had the staff help her into the dress. Ethan was already in his tuxedo. He started to take it off, but I stopped him. Chloe is pregnant. It's not easy for her to move around. What if something happens while you're gone? He stayed, standing quietly beside me, but I could see a flicker of worry in his eyes as he watched her. A small, mocking smile touched my lips. Soon, Chloe came out, guided by the staff. The dress fit her perfectly. She couldn't hide her happiness as she asked, "Ethan, do I look good?" Ethan, who had been staring at her, snapped back to reality and mumbled a soft, "Yes." Just then, another staff member walked by and exclaimed, "That dress looks amazing on you. You two are the most perfect bride and groom I've ever seen." The atmosphere shifted. Chloe glanced nervously at Ethan and forced a smile. "No, you've misunderstood." Before she could finish, I clapped my hands. "It really does suit you, Chloe. The dress is a perfect match for you. It's a match made in heaven." Ethan looked at me in disbelief. I'd always been possessive of my things, especially something with so much meaning. Now I was not only letting her wear my dress, but praising her in it. Maya, you. I blinked at him. Anyway, I just remembered I have some work to finish at the office. I won't keep you. With that, I turned and walked out of the shop. Ethan started to follow, but Chloe held him back. As I glanced back through the door, I saw him carefully helping her toward the fitting room, his eyes fixed on her, as if no one else in the world existed. I felt a little lost. Was he really only marrying her out of duty? Or did he actually love her? I didn't know, and I didn't want the humiliation of asking. The next day, I went to the hospital for my pre-op checkup. When the doctor asked where the baby's father was, I just said he was busy with work. I had tried calling him that morning, but he never answered. After the procedure, I was pale and weak, leaning against the wall as I made my way out. In the lobby, I saw him. Ethan was with Chloe for her prenatal appointment. They both froze when they saw me. "Are you not feeling well?" Ethan asked, his face full of concern. "Why are you at the hospital by yourself?" Before I could answer, Chloe spoke up. "Maya, you shouldn't neglect your health just because you're young. You have to take care of yourself. Don't make Ethan worry." Her tone was earnest, but I could feel a certain distance in it. I just nodded and said, "I'm done with my checkup. I just need to get my medicine and I can leave. You two should go ahead." Ethan looked worried and started to walk toward me, but Chloe pulled him back. "Ethan, it's almost our turn," she said, rubbing her stomach with a pained look. "I don't know if it's because I've been worrying so much, but my stomach feels a little off. I hope it won't affect the baby." She stressed the word, and the concern in Ethan's eyes shifted back to her. "Maya, you go home first," he said apologetically. "I'll come find you after I'm done here with Chloe." He used to call her sister-in-law so respectfully. Now their names flowed together so easily. Seeing them together, I realized I was the outsider. The man who promised to love me forever didn't have me in his heart anymore. My eyes stung with tears as I choked out, "Fine, go ahead." On the drive home, I stared out the window as familiar streets flew by, memories flooding my mind. I'd known Ethan since we were desk mates in high school. He was quiet and studious. I was loud and active. My parents had me live on campus, and I always complained about the cafeteria food, so I'd pester him to bring me breakfast. He always did for 3 years straight. We went to the same university, and in that new place, I leaned on him for everything. He never seemed to mind. My mom used to tell me I shouldn't bother him so much, but when I told him what she said, he just put down his pen and said, "Do you really think I'm a pushover, Maya? If I didn't like you, I wouldn't bother." His feelings for me were never a secret, and I took his kindness for granted. After we started dating, he was even more open with his love. I thought as long as he was around, I could be carefree forever. My mom used to joke that the hardest thing she ever had to do was go to work, but now I knew she was wrong. The hardest thing was realizing the person I loved had married someone else, and I was the last to know. Tears streamed down my face. The taxi driver handed me a tissue. "Young lady," he said kindly, "there's no problem in this world you can't get over. Just look forward. Good things are waiting for you." I thanked him, and after I got out of the car, I mindlessly opened my social media. The first thing I saw was a new post from Chloe. It was an ultrasound picture and a photo of Ethan looking at the report. The caption read, "Hurry up and come out, little one. Mom and Dad can't wait to meet you." The first comment was from Ethan's mom. "Grandma is looking forward to it too. I can't wait to see my grandson." The entire comment section was filled with the Thompson family. They all knew. I thought back to the last time I was at their house, how kind they all were to me, and it felt like a farce. They must have been laughing at me behind my back, the clueless girl planning a fake wedding. I wiped my tears and went inside. Before we had set a wedding date, the Thompson family had given us traditional engagement gifts. I found them all and packed them into cardboard boxes. On the day of the wedding, I would send them all back. After that, I would have nothing more to do with the Thompsons. My body was weak after the abortion, so I took a few days off to rest. One afternoon, I was half asleep when I felt someone near me. I opened my eyes and saw Ethan. He touched my hand, which was cold, and looked worried. Maya, are you sick? Let me take you to the hospital. In the past, I would have cuddled up to him. Now I pulled my hand away and hid it under the blanket. It's just a cold, I mumbled. I don't need a hospital. He didn't seem to notice my coldness. Why didn't you tell me? We're about to get married. You don't have to be so formal with me. The word marriage cleared my head. Right, he was married. I glanced at the boxes in the corner. You're right. Since we're getting married, you should probably take your things back with you today. He sometimes stayed over, so he had a fair amount of stuff at my place. I had packed it all up the day I came back from the hospital. He didn't catch on and just smiled. All right, we'll be moving into our new house after the wedding anyway. I didn't say anything. That evening, he made me a bowl of soup before gathering his things to leave. As he was walking out, I said softly, Don't come over for a while. I have a cold and I don't want you to catch it. Just stay home and get ready to be the most handsome groom. He just smiled, finding my words a little silly, but he agreed. He didn't visit for the next few days, though he sent messages, which I always answered briefly. Time passed quickly and the wedding day arrived. I didn't put on the dress Ethan had designed for me. Instead, I bought a train ticket to the coast for a solo trip. Just before I boarded, the hotel wedding coordinator called to ask when I would be arriving. I forwarded Chloe's picture to her and said, This is the real bride. I was just helping with the rehearsal. Find her and help her get ready. Then, I blocked and deleted Ethan's number and all his family's contacts. I took out my SIM card and put it in my bag. A strange sense of relief washed over me. Ethan, I thought, I hope you have an unforgettable day. Meanwhile, Ethan was at the hotel, filled with happiness. His mother pulled him aside. Take it easy later, she warned. Chloe is sensitive right now. Don't break her heart. Ethan's smile faded a little. I know, Mom. From now on, be nicer to Maya. Don't let her suspect anything. Mrs. Thompson sighed and agreed. The ceremony was about to start, but Ethan had a growing sense of dread. He looked around but couldn't see my parents anywhere. I had already told them everything. A panic started to rise in him. Just as he was about to ask someone if they'd seen them, the officiant announced the start of the ceremony. He had to wait. But when he saw Chloe walking down the aisle toward him in a wedding dress, the smile on his face froze. He went pale, his lips trembling. Why is it you? Where is Maya? Before Chloe could answer, a delivery man walked in with a large box. Who is Ethan Thompson? I have a wedding gift from Maya Hayes. Please sign for it. The room erupted in whispers. Everyone knew the bride was supposed to be Maya. Ethan stumbled toward the delivery man, his eyes vacant. He opened the box without signing. Inside were all the engagement gifts and a bank card with the dowry money. Despair washed over him. He tried to smile, but it looked more like a grimace. Tears welled in his eyes. She called it off. He whispered, his voice cracking. Maya doesn't want me anymore. Why doesn't she want me? His mother rushed over. When she saw what was in the box, her anger flared. This is the wonderful girlfriend you found, she hissed, running away on the wedding day and humiliating you in front of everyone. Her gaze shifted to Chloe and her expression softened. But maybe this is for the best. You and Chloe can go ahead with the wedding. You're already legally husband and wife. Mom, Ethan interrupted, his eyes red with anger. The only one I love is Maya. So what? Are you going to abandon Chloe? Don't forget she's carrying your brother's only child. No matter how much he resisted, his mother forced him to go through with the ceremony. When I got to my hotel and settled in, I was about to look for a restaurant when I accidentally opened my social media feed. I saw a new post from Chloe, just 2 minutes old. It was a picture of a wedding suite and a screenshot of her phone contacts. She had changed Ethan's name to Baby's Dad. The caption read, Such a shame our baby couldn't be here to see Mommy and Daddy's happiest day. But we'll keep being happy. Looking forward to our journey, dear father of our child. I saw Ethan's comment underneath. A simple a silent confirmation. The child's father. The words felt ridiculous. For a moment, I wondered what his face would look like if he knew we once had a child too. I almost unblocked him, but then I stopped myself. If I was going to let go, I had to do it completely. I spent a wonderful week by the coast. When I got back home, I ran into my neighbor. "You're finally back," she said with a smile. "Your boyfriend has been going crazy looking for you. He was waiting by your door every single day. He just left. You might be able to catch him." I just shrugged. "We broke up. I don't have a boyfriend. If you see him again, could you please call security for me?" "Thanks." I went inside, changed the locks as I had planned, and didn't think much more of it. The next day at work, my colleagues gathered around me. "Didn't you take time off to get married?" one of my close friends whispered. "Why did your husband come here looking for you? He told me to call him if I saw you. Did something happen?" Ethan used to visit me at the office sometimes. His showing up now didn't affect me. "I took annual leave, not marriage leave," I said calmly, "and we broke up. I have nothing to do with him anymore." "What? You two were always so in love." "We just weren't compatible," I said, ending the conversation. After work, I saw Ethan's car parked outside. I pretended not to notice and started walking the other way, but he called out my name. "Maya!" He ran after me, his face filled with relief. "You're finally back. I've missed you so much." I looked past him and saw Chloe in the passenger seat, a smug smile on her face. Now that everyone knew they were married, I guess the act was over. She got out of the car, her expression one of fake concern. "Maya, where have you been? Ethan and I were so worried. He's been so upset he can't even eat. Look how thin he's gotten." She was pretending to be worried about me, but really she was just showing off. "I'm sorry to hear that," I said flatly. "But him feeling sorry for himself is your business, not mine." Ethan's face paled. "Maya, from the very beginning, you were the only one I ever wanted to marry." I felt disgusted. "Ethan, do you really think I'm a fool? You registered your marriage with her, but you still wanted to have a wedding with me. What does that make me? The other woman? I hate people who interfere in other people's relationships." "No, Maya, it's just a marriage on paper. There are no feelings between us," he tried to explain, but just then, Chloe clutched her stomach. "Ethan, my stomach hurts so badly. Can you take me to the hospital?" she cried out. I sneered. "You should hurry and take your wife to get checked out. You wouldn't want anything to happen to your precious son." Without waiting for a reply, I hailed a taxi and left. And I thought that would be the end of it, but the next evening, Ethan's mother was waiting for me outside my apartment. The moment she saw me, she knelt on the floor. "I'm begging you," she wailed. "Please let my son go. He has a wife and child now. They can't live without him." It was rush hour, and my neighbors were coming home. A crowd started to form. "From what she's saying, this woman must be the mistress," someone whispered. "Look at her. She doesn't look like a good person." Anger surged through me. "What you're saying is exactly what I want to say," I said loudly, looking at Mrs. Thompson. "I'm begging you, please have your son leave me alone. I've told him he's not the only man in the world for me. If he lets me down, I'll walk away. I've made up my mind and there's no going back." Just then, Ethan came running up the stairs, out of breath. "Maya," he panted, looking hurt, "was what you just said true?" "Yes," I said, looking him straight in the eye. "I can't afford to be involved with you Thompsons. Please go back where you came from and never look for me again." "Fine! Remember what you said," his mother shrieked, getting to her feet, "and don't you dare bother my daughter-in-law, or I'll make you regret it." "Mom, stop it," Ethan snapped. My neighbor pushed through the crowd. "Maya never harassed your son. It was your son who was harassing her, standing outside her door like a stalker every day. I have a security camera. I can show you the footage." The crowd's murmuring shifted, and even Ethan's mother was speechless. "Yes," Ethan admitted quietly, his eyes full of guilt. "She never bothered me. I was the one bothering her." His mother shot him an angry look and stormed off. Ethan tried to speak to me again, but I cut him off. What I said was serious. "I never want to see you again." I walked into my apartment and shut the door. That night, I got a notification from a shopping app. A linked family account, one I had set up with Ethan long ago, had just purchased a bunch of baby supplies and some sexy maternity lingerie. Seeing those orders after his pleading performance earlier made me sick. I immediately went into the app and canceled the family account, making sure every last digital trace of him was gone from my life. The next weekend, my neighbor invited me to the mall to get my mind off things. While we were waiting for bubble tea, I saw a woman who looked exactly like Chloe. She was holding onto the arm of a man I didn't recognize as they walked into a hotel across the street. I didn't think much of it. But that night, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Ethan's mother screaming into the phone. "You heartless witch! How could you just stand by while my daughter-in-law and grandson were harmed? Give me back my grandson's life." I was completely confused. Then Ethan got on the phone, his voice hoarse. He said Chloe had been attacked and was rushed to the hospital with severe bleeding. As they took her into surgery, she kept calling my name. It was so absurd, I almost laughed. His mother insisted I come to the hospital. Knowing how persistent she was, I had no choice. When I arrived, Chloe had just been wheeled out of the operating room. She started crying the moment she saw me. Mrs. Thompson was furious, her eyes red, and she tried to hit me, but Ethan stepped in front of me. "She killed your only grandchild and you're still protecting her?" she screamed at him. "Have you forgotten how good your brother was to you?" "Mom, this has nothing to do with her." "No, it's her," Chloe sobbed. "She's angry that I took Ethan from her, so she wanted to hurt me and my baby. Mom, you have to help me." I couldn't help but laugh. The woman I saw that afternoon was definitely her. "Are you sure this has anything to do with me?" I asked calmly. "Because if you are, I'm calling the police right now." At the mention of the police, Chloe's expression flickered. "For Ethan's sake, we don't need to make such a big deal out of this." "No, I think we do," I said, pulling out my phone. "How else am I supposed to clear my name?" I started a dial. "This afternoon, I saw you walk into a hotel with a man. If I call the police, I can give them a statement. I'm sure they'll find out what really happened." "No, you can't call the police," she shrieked, but I dialed the number anyway. Her face went white. She thought I hadn't seen her. As I was about to leave, the doctor who had performed my abortion came out of the operating room. She looked surprised to see me. "You just had surgery," she said. "Why haven't you been back for a follow-up?" "Surgery? What surgery?" Ethan's mother asked. The doctor looked confused. "The abortion surgery," she said, looking at me. "Since you're here, you should get checked out. Young women need to take care of themselves." Ethan and his mother's faces drained of all color. He looked at me, trembling. "Our child is gone?" I didn't answer. I just turned to leave with the doctor. As I walked away, I heard a thud behind me. Mrs. Thompson had collapsed on the floor, wailing, "My grandson is gone." When I came out of the doctor's office, Ethan was waiting for me. His eyes were bloodshot. "Don't you have anything to say to me?" he asked, his voice raw. "There's nothing left to say," I said. "Let's just go our separate ways." "Maya, I still love you," he choked out. "How can you say that? From the moment you married Chloe, we were always going to part ways. And don't tell me it was just out of duty. There are other ways to care for someone. Marriage isn't the only one." "I had no choice," he insisted. "My brother was gone. The child would have no father. Chloe is an orphan. How could she raise a child alone?" His words sounded so hollow. "It's hard for her to raise a child alone? What about me? If we had gotten married and had children, what would that have made us? Just because her life is hard, does that mean ours wouldn't be? Ethan, your love is too cheap. I can't afford it. Please, just let me go. I gave up this child because I didn't want him to be illegitimate, and because I didn't want him to one day have to ask why his father had two families." He teared up, still unable to choose. I didn't bother arguing anymore and just left. Not long after, the police started their investigation. A tall man barged into Chloe's hospital room and slapped her. "You bitch! How dare you call the police?" he yelled. "You think marrying some rich guy gives you a backbone? I'll tell him right now that the baby you're carrying is mine. Let's see who protects a whore like you then." He didn't know that Ethan and his mother were standing right outside the door. Mrs. Thompson, furious, rushed in and slapped Chloe. "You wretched woman! Because of you, my real grandson is gone." The rage and shock were too much for her. Her eyes rolled back and she fainted. After a series of tests, the doctors said she'd had an acute stroke and would be in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. Ethan filed for divorce from Chloe, using evidence of her infidelity to make sure she was left with nothing. When I heard about it all, I felt a small pang of sympathy, but that was it. We're all adults. We have to take responsibility for our choices. No one gets a free pass.